Hey, what's up, Dean Sear Performance? It's been a while, I know. Um, but the turntable is done, out of here. We have Kevin's Ranchero back. I had thought I fixed it. There was a little oil leak coming from the back of the engine, and I saw a little seep around the distributor, so put a little RTV around it. Thought I had it fixed, but I guess when I cleaned the block, let it run for 10 minutes, maybe it just hadn't puddled up enough. But so he took the car back. He wasn't real happy with the way it ran. Said basically it burned his eyes and just has no power. So he's forwarded me a bunch of stuff. Not quite the specs on the engine. He kind of has an idea on the engine, but the place that built the engine, it's 550 horse, 383. So it's a pretty healthy motor. It's got a pretty good cam in it. So I pulled the intake off today, resealed everything. Really, really good. All new intake gaskets. Applied liberal amounts of RTV to the front and rear of the intake. You can kind of see it squeezing out, and I did not see it squeezing out of the front last time. But I also did usually cut the RTV off. But I got it on the back, and then I put a dab under the distributor, which I'm just trying to look at, and I can't see it. I'm on the wrong side. But I don't see any drips, nothing underneath. That's the old puddle underneath. It's not really even a puddle. It's like settled into the concrete type thing. So there's no new oil leaks. I just let it run for probably 35 minutes just now, and I was playing with like a lot of his idle settings. Basically took and tamed the ignition timing down to where it tries to control the idle. So I have it reacting a little bit slower to the idle changes, so it's not quite as aggressive, like what I call fake chop. When they put a lot of swing in their timing, it gives you more of that blup 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 kind of cam sound. So I tamed that way down, added some timing in at idle, took some fuel out, not much, like 2%, which is not a lot. It was 13.8, 13.9, now it's 14.2, 14.3. With the extra timing, it's kind of happy right there. But I mean, the door is shut. I've had it like 35 minutes, like I said. My eyes aren't watering, or it's exhausting in here. But he had a couple other concerns. I don't remember the horn issue, but the horn doesn't work, and the shifter doesn't actually go into park. Whoops. Shifter doesn't go into park. And what I looked at is the front of the boot right here. It's very hard. You can't see it, but if I take it out of gear, you could kind of see it like binds the boot. Like you could feel there's something not 100% right there. And what it is actually, you can see where the edge of my fingertip is. That is the edge of the console where he put the hole. So when this comes forward, it hits the edge of this console. It's always done that. So I don't know how that didn't get caught prior, but now, like, if you give it a good shove, it's locked in. But if you just kind of push, well, it's locked in. I don't know. I guess it doesn't always lock in. Feels like it's locking in. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know. But I did get the coolant gauge working. You can see it going up. I did get a speedometer working. I don't know if I put that in the last video. I can't remember the last video, but there was a B&M lockup converter kit that was stuffed under the dash. And it was actually wired wrong. So when the converter locked, it stayed locked. It wasn't wired to the brake pedal to unlock. But it didn't lock because it wasn't picking up speed. So, you know, I don't remember, but that's the MSD dual sync distributor I added in last time because they just had a regular like MSD kind of ready to run style distributor, and it had the red wires. I did the black MSD wires with the aluminum separators. So this time I while I was waiting for the intake to set and do all of that, I pulled one of the plugs. Now, mind you, I didn't build the car. I just tuned it recently, but you can kind of see they had black on them, and that's to be had. You know, like the car was pig rich. Like at startup, that's why you had to throttle into it to get air into it. But you can still see some of the porcelain's brown. It's been cleaning up since I tuned it. You know, and then some of the other ones are not horrible. That is rich. You look down inside the porcelain, it is rich. But again, this wasn't something I did. But what, you know, I'm not a spark plug expert, but these are Autolites 3923. I've never run Autolites in anything other than like a stock straight six, so I can't say they're good or bad or none of that. I do see a lot of people saying Autolites tend to seep some carbon around the porcelain, like they leak around the porcelain. I don't see any. I mean, I don't think I would call that carbon around there, but regardless, I had the parts store bring over the same heat range because I don't know who put these plugs in. I don't know what plugs should be in the motor heat range wise, and these aren't like a super cold plug. They're kind of a intermediate plug, which is pump gas. But a set of NGKs, they are, I just threw the boxes away. They are like a BK6RE or something. Man, they're at the bottom of the garbage bag. Let's see if we can find one. I usually keep one for them, but this time I was on the phone, to be honest with you. There it is. Yeah, BK6RE. So it's a 6962 plug that's in there now. The gap on these is like 50 thousandths. It's massive. So I gapped these to like a 35, and it seems to be happier with that gap. I just topped off the radiator, hence the spills all over. I topped off the radiator, ran the heat, got all the bubbles out of it, lowered the fan temps a little bit. So I think I pretty much have a handle on what, I would call warranty, if you want to call it that. The oil leak definitely is warranty. The tuning, I'll make some adjustments. The car will run how it wants to run. There wasn't a whole lot to do at idle. I lowered the RPM a little bit. Took like 2% of fuel out, add a little bit of timing into it. So there's, those things. Then the horn, if he wants me to look at it, I don't know I don't hear anything. Like, I don't hear the relay, if it's even on a relay. There's two horns out there, so I would hope they're on a relay. I have no idea how the steering wheel comes apart. La Cala. Yeah. I have no idea. I mean, there's a gap there, right there, but I don't know how this comes apart. There's a groove there. So maybe I gotta get a little pry tool in there and pop it open. Start there. Shifter, Yeah, I mean, I could take the boot off and grind a notch up in it. I wired the lockup converter to the Holley, and I have it locking up like over. We can go look at that. I think I might have closed it. Yeah, I closed it. That's all right. Good look at it though. Then outputs, output. Output, lockup. But where is it? B3. So where is it here? Puts, outputs. B3, where are you? Where the hell is it? Basic inputs, outputs? No. Oh, yeah. Here it is. I forgot this has the TCC because it has transmission control. So enable torque converter, clutch output, minimum TPS for lockup, 20%. I might change that a little bit higher. Minimum RPM for lockup, 2,000. Minimum coolant temp for lockup, 120. Wide open throttle unlock is 85% throttle. So it probably. I mean, I'll leave it alone. I have to data log it. That's what I have to do. I'm not going to mess with it. But, Jonathan's Ranger, oy vey. The radiator is in. I had done the mounts, but, so I bought the tubing, like a 90 degree, 1.5 inch and a 90 degree, I believe that's 1 3/4 inch. And I cut off that 45 that came like on a weird angle, and then this was a straight on this side. So I cut those off, welded 90s onto it. That is a 45, which I have to change because this, I don't like this coupler up here. It's an 1 3/4 inch coupler, but the water neck is like just over 1.5 inches. It's like in between 1.5 inches and 1 3/4 inches. So I don't like it. I'm going to change that coupler. I have another one coming. I thought it was supposed to be here. Maybe today. So, and then I got a clamp on the bottom. But this one's 100% done. I cut the like stainless tube down. It's really, really short. Then I welded on another 90 with like a thermostat cap. And yes, I stole Jeff's cap temporarily. Just because I put some water in it the other day. Actually, there's still water in it. You can kind of see it, but no clamps or nothing. It's holding. But that wasn't intentional. So it has a little bit of water in it. I had a bunch of caps. I don't know if I gave them all away because people keep buying junk caps. So I'll have to find, have to get a regular cap for them. I have the dipstick for the oil. I gotta get this out of the way to be able to pull this truck forward, get it up in the air, pop the lower end of the dipstick out. I might be able to do it from up here. I don't think I can. I don't even see it. It's somewhere in there. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I'll have to do it from underneath. I'd rather do it from underneath. I don't want to destroy that dipstick, but I'm going to pop that dipstick out. I'm going to put more of a factory dipstick in it. It'll just be a better placement, and it'll give me a little more room for coils. I got to fix the coils, fix the harness, and start building the AC plumbing. Then an intake for it. I got to figure that out, which I think I'm going to kind of come up and over. I think I'm kind of going to come almost around. I'm going to get rid of this clamp. I'm going to come around something over here. The other option was that I was kind of looking at the other day, which I kind of like, is to 90 it out and then down and have the filter kind of down in that area there. I don't think that would be a bad placement on it. And even maybe get rid of some of this battery tray under here. Kind of take a little line off of it. That's a lot of battery tray for tiny battery. So, I mean, the turntable was a huge deal. It's not 100% finished, but that was a big deal. That is a main source of ink revenue, whatever you want to call it, for my shop. I've been working with that guy for like 14 years now. It's been a long time. He's always been really good to me. So he, unfortunately, he kind of takes priority over a lot of other things, pretty much everything. But we got that done to him. He's using it. It's working. A couple details we have to finish on it, but we're getting back. And I also talked to Jim. All of the 4L80 debacle. Don't ever buy a transmission from Better Built Transmissions, Brian. Not that he's a bad guy or anything like that, but I know the first transmission that was in Wood's truck, the large snap ring that basically holds the whole back half of the transmission, believe it's intermediate clutches. I want to say intermediate clutches, and the center support and all that stuff. It was left out, completely left out, and that's a huge issue. So that's definitely what ate that transmission up. The second transmission, I think he's got it looked at. And then the third transmission that was sent as a warranty, I brought it to him. I don't trust it. So, the second one was one that lost all the gears. Went in Wood's truck, it worked. Lasted a whopping 200 miles maybe, and lost all the gears. So that one's getting looked at. I'm really hoping that's something really stupid too. Mind you, the first one is completely done. All the clutches completely wiped out. One of the lugs in the case is cracked because the center support shifted forward, or something shifted forward. Maybe the pressure plate. I think maybe he said the pressure plate shifted forward, and it cracked one of the lugs in the case. So case is junk. I brought him an empty case. Hopefully it's good. And we'll go from there. The Caprice is outside. We have a ton of parts for it. Terminator kit. That's his Dakota Digital, his Magnum. No idea. Oh, those are valve covers. There's fuel pump. There's filters, catch cans. There's a bunch of stuff over there for that dipstick. But I did the whole CVF front drive kit is on. The intake is on. The injectors are ordered. The manifolds are ordered. There was something else. A starter. Yeah, that's ordered. He brought a battery, so that's awesome. So as soon as we get Kevin's car done, which I'm going to update him that the car's run, the oil leak's fixed. We are back to zero, I guess you could say. And of course, I try to always, give everybody a little extra in a sense. I fixed the kickdown cable. What a nightmare. The TV cable, kickdown cable, whatever you call it. This is the one that had the braid had pulled out of the collar. There. You can see it's heat shrunk now. But I fought with that thing probably 2 hours. Literally fought with that cable to get the braid. If you've ever worked with this, if you don't do it right, basically the way you cut these is you take the inner out, you slide the collar over it. Don't take the collar off. Slide the collar down. The collar will continue to slide. Then you cut the sheath or whatever you want to call that. Feed your cable back through, and then attach everything. It's not that hard. But once this collar that sits right here, that holds the braid, once it comes off the braid and the braid pops open, forget it. In my opinion, throw the damn thing away. 2 hours of mangling tools to try and figure out a way to get it to work. What I ended up doing was, this is one of those fuel coupler tools. So you can see it's black anodized, and it's not anymore. I basically had to drill it out to make these edges thinner, then grind away the whole center of it. You can kind of see the edges where they're ground so that it would close tighter. Then beat the shit out of it with a pair of channel locks to get it to crush down on the braid far enough that that little collet would slide up on the braid, and then I could kind of work that back and the collet at the same time. I tried a wrench, I tried tape, I went through everything till I found that little tool. And not that that was like a miracle tool, because it was like 10 tries to get it to slide on. But I got it on. I got it adjusted to where I think it should be. I have to drive it, but I'm not driving it today. I just kind of did the heat cycle on it, which I don't have to heat cycle it, but I just filled the radiator, topped the radiator off, made sure all that's good. Plus the caprice is in the damn way. Then I found the other thing I found. So I normally don't take air cleaners apart. This is going to be a long video. That's the base. You can see it is a drop base. I literally don't think me or my brothers or anybody have really ever owned a drop base. But I don't ever take an air cleaner apart. I always take them off in one piece. I unscrew it, I pick it up, and I set it down. Well, today, yeah, this morning, I don't remember. Yesterday, I had unscrewed it, took it off. Yeah, it was yesterday. And I was going to put it back on, and I couldn't find the stud. So I picked the lid up, and I was like, whoa, wait. It's a drop base. Okay, cool. But if you look, so you see the Holley has like a float adjustment, but it's not a float adjustment. I don't know what those are for, but it mimics a float adjustment on a carburetor. It does not sit on top. In the front it does, but in the back it doesn't, because it hits the coil where the coil is mounted, which in my opinion is just a bad spot for a coil to be mounted. I would never mount a coil on an intake. I mean, you're just asking for it to blow up, if you ask me. But that's just me. What do I know? So it hits that, and it also hits that. You can see the scratch on the inside, or that's a watermark maybe, but it will definitely hit that. You can feel it in the front where it's rubbing it. So it will never sit flat on there. Annoying that I find all the just the dumbest issues with stuff. But yeah, so yeah, another phone call to tell a customer you need another part, which is just a base. I mean, it's not a big deal. They're like $30 maybe or something, but I'm not buying it. I won't do it. I bought the plugs, put the plugs in my own free will. I'm gonna fix the horn. You know, I'm not gonna get carried away with invoices and stuff like that. It's not what I like to do. So he says he had mentioned the horns at one time. I will take care of the horns, unless it's like some massive wiring nightmare, which I don't think it will be, because the car was wired pretty decent. For the 70% of it was wired pretty decent. So yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at, but we shall see what happens. So those do have grounds. Sorry, I'm just looking everything over, and he's got the ground up behind the tab. I'm not sure. So I'll have to check and see if this bolt gets ground first. That was an issue on DJ's car. After he had everything painted, it was just nice fresh paint, and you can see like that used to be a ground. That's actually a washer that was painted to the car. That's actually kind of funny. That's one of those, like, they bite in and make sure that it's on fresh paint. They make sure they like chip away the paint from the factory, because they'll use those as grounds. So I'll have to double check and make sure that this gets a good ground. Make sure the horn, see if the horn's even getting power. I doubt it is. I do see a ground over there that's cut. See, this is why I should walk away, because I start finding all the little things. Like, why is there a ground cut there? I don't know. Yeah, walk away. All right. Sorry for the long video. Appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified. Have an excellent day.